Hello, and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show tonight. So tonight, we're going to be talking about something, and this is going to be kind of in a more global, generalized sense, but one of my favorite things to, peruse, and that's conspiracy theories, because there's a conspiracy theory for everybody. And so what I want to know is, did you turn your phone off yesterday at 2:20 Eastern, 1:20 Central, or 12:20 Pacific time? I know I did, just in case. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a rumor. Okay, so there was an announcement that the emergency broadcast system would be doing a test. But tied to this doing the test, there was this rumor, this conspiracy theory, that when the system was activated, that a very specific tone was going to come through your cell phone line, and especially if you're attached to 5G, you know, like most of our cell phones can access 5G towers now. And this tone was going to activate some nanobots that people have in their body, especially if you had received the vaccine. And what that it was going to do kind of range the gamut. My personal favorite, and the one that really got the most traction, was that it was going to turn you into a zombie, which might have been kind of fun to watch. I mean, unless they're like people eating zombies, then maybe not so much fun to watch, and you have to have ammunition to deal with them. But anyway, but zombies nonetheless. And I had heard about this whole thing over a month ago, but as the days drew closer, it became more widespread, and people who, in my opinion, kind of sit on the outskirts of paying attention to conspiracy kind of things or political things, were starting to contact me, did you hear about this, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, so I turned my phone off. I mean, not that I was vaccinated or, by that point in time, it was too widespread for anything to really happen because, the jig was in. But I did turn my phone off anyway. And about 1:25, because I'm central, I got on Facebook and I looked, and people locally were like, yeah, not a zombie. So I turned my phone back on. And then there was the part that was like, haha, on all of you guys. They set off the emergency broadcast message thing, the signal that was going to turn us all into zombies 2 minutes early. So instead of being at 1:20 Central, they actually set it off at 1:18 for those unsuspecting people that didn't get their phones turned off fast enough or, far enough in advance, those not planner people, but they didn't turn into zombies either. So that kind of sucks. But there are conspiracy theories around everything. And why I even bring this topic up, so a really good friend of mine, Anthony Sanchez, who I'm hoping will show up here so I can give him a plug, is releasing this new book called UFO Nexus that I'm in the process of reviewing to write a little endorsement of it. And, and UFOs, they're like the base conspiracy theory kind of topic. But it's just been in the last 2 years that and actually just this past year, that there have actually been Senate hearings to talk about the phenomena that has been captured um, on film and radar and whatever. It was interesting. I didn't really watch a whole lot of it. I did kind of peripherally pay attention to what was going on, and it seemed like what they presented was just the minutest tip of the iceberg of the whole UFO phenomena. And they were talking about cases that were actually pretty old. Um, but it makes me wonder, okay, so people that believed in UFOs, so let's say you're a UFO person and or you're an experiencer and you started talking about it in the 40s after Roswell, or in the 60s, with the Betty and Barney Hill experience, or the incredible amount of people who have had UFO encounters, whether just seeing a UFO or being an experiencer, meaning you were abducted, kind of thing. Um, and that's what makes a conspiracy, because these UFO people are saying, hey, I had this experience. I saw this light in the sky. I had missing time. Now I have these weird marks. Or um, John Lear, Richard Lear, Dr. Lear did. It was a podiatrist, and he was involved in situations where they removed these implants from people, actual physical devices that, and it's a really long story to really explain, but they had an electrical charge to them. But once they were removed from the body, the charge went away, and there was no entry point. They were the size of a piece of rice. I mean, anomalous things that happen. But if you sit there and say, oh, I saw a UFO, oh, I was abducted, oh, I have this implant, you're a kook. It's like the majority of people will sit there and look at you like there's something wrong with you and strange about you, which is what makes the conspiracy be the conspiracy, because there's always this group of people, regardless of the size, that have this belief. And then there's like the general public that says it's not in our belief system and we can't really own it. And if that's what you think, then there's something wrong with you. And I want to like throw this out, and this is not the earliest conspiracy theory, but it is a good one to put out there, is Galileo. Galileo said that the sun was the center of the universe, or maybe it was Copernicus, one of them. And it was a great conspiracy theory, and they were kicked out of the church and exiled, and all of this stuff happened to them because they put out a theory, which, oops, later turned out to be true. So was it really a conspiracy, or was the conspiracy really about not having truth come to the surface, and not having truth be the misinformation? That's a good word that's thrown around a lot. The misinformation being put out there as being truth, only to find out down the road that what people were saying years ago actually turned out to be the case. Like the UFOs. Oh no, UFOs, those are crazy people. Although now the government is entertaining, hearings about UFOs on the Senate floor. One of the things about UFOs is, no, I'm going to skip that because I'm looking at the time. I'm kind of excited about this. I'm just talking away. I consider myself an old school UFO person. I I was following all this weird stuff, 9/11. I mean, even JFK. Was it Oswald? Was it the government? Was it the mob? Who was it that actually shot the fatal bullet? We don't know. And we'll never know because a narrative was put out that says this is the truth. And it was Lee Harvey Oswald. And if you want to say it's something different, you can't, period. And we're not going to investigate it. And we don't care. We came to this decision and we came to this conclusion, and that's it. End of the story. Following conspiracy theories, I'm going to say, has gotten harder lately. It turned from all of this weird anomalous stuff, Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and, JFK and 9/11 and all of this stuff, to really focusing in on the political agenda. Not that they don't have some really great conspiracy theories going on, but there are, I'm just going to whine here a second. But there are a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I got red pilled in 2019. And I'm like, dude, you're just a conspiracy baby. And that's all they can see is this political window. But one of the things that I have found with this political window is that you have people throwing frauds in there, or people taking weird, obscure pieces of data and saying, oh, well, this is true and you should believe me. And it's just much harder to follow, or much harder to really come up with your own conclusion about what's going on. Like this whole thing with, the emergency broadcast system. Was there going to be something happening real that was going to activate nanoparticles in your body? I don't know. You never know for sure. But it got convoluted, and, was the whole thing just a lie? It just seems like in the political landscape, there's a lot of crap that gets put out. See, I didn't use a bad word. There's a lot of crap that gets put out that, you could almost say is like false flag material, that it's just not true. But it gets people thinking, but then there's the whole piece of, okay, so we're going to talk about this. This is going to be the big thing. Oh, we're talking about UFOs. So what's going on in the government over there that they don't want you to look at? Or the, different things, that go on. It's like, oh, well, there's this explosion over here, but who set off the explosion? And while this is making the news and this is filling the front page of every paper, what's going on in the background that you are unaware of? Because, oh, wait, look over there, the great magician's trick. So, as part of the commentary tonight, I would love for people to share their favorite conspiracy theories. If there's a conspiracy theory that you have heard of, but you don't really know the details, I don't want to say that I know like the ins and outs of every conspiracy theory, but I know about a lot of them. One of the things that I like to do is to just kind of like sit on the edge of my rabbit hole and take it all in, because there could be aliens, there could be this stuff that happens, and I don't want to have a position in myself, a fixed position in myself, where I find out that what I believe to be true was actually a lie. I mean, it kind of sounds wishy-washy, but I really don't think so. One of my personal conspiracy theories is that there is a group of reptilians that live in the center of the earth, and they control our government. And, I have kind of mixed feelings about that, because in the mythological record, there were these reptilians that lived, or they took on the form of half man, half serpent. But I think reptilian is a really good word to use, that lived in the bowels of the earth and underneath the water. And they owned the planet. They were the rulers until another group of gods, the sky gods, the ones that live up there now, fought a battle and took control. And then they were vilified and sent to live in the bowels of the earth. And they are always identified as being kind of tricksters and going against the establishment. And in some circles, they're seen as being evil and demonic. But it's said in contemporary circles that these reptilians are controlling our government. And based on what I see going on in the world today, it makes me wonder how people can do some of the things that they do to people. Now, it would make more sense and be a whole lot more congruent to me if these people that are doing things that I just can't wrap my mind around from a moral, ethical, heartfelt level are being directed or controlled by these reptilians that live in the underground bases. That would make a whole lot more sense as to why some things are happening. But we will never know, ever. And the reptilians living down there will remain a conspiracy theory from now until, I don't know, till it's not anymore. So they can come to the surface and take ownership of the planet again. Anyway, so one final comment. I think it's really important if you're going to sit there and you're going to look at conspiracy theories, really form your own opinion. Don't just accept what someone says as being true, because they might not know. They might be one of these faker people. There are so many people that I am so not going to mention names that, in my opinion, they pull stuff out their butt and present it as this is a fact. And it's not. It's their opinion. And so I implore you, as you potentially look at conspiracy theories out there, or some of the material that is presented in a lot of different areas, to have your BS meter on and take it in and do your own homework, and don't necessarily take someone's opinion on as your own unless you find reasons to do that or have done your homework to accept that this is something that you think is true. Okay? Wow, kind of a long one today, but it was really fun for me. So let me do my little spiel, and then we will get into the questions, and hopefully you got some. So if you would like to reach out to me or set up a time for a private consultation, please go to my webpage, soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com. And you can send me a message using the contact form, and we can set up a time where we can talk. Sounds great. Okay. So on Facebook, and I guess I need to update this. So yesterday, I created a group called Dr. Rita Live. And it's a group, and it's not a like page anymore, because that like page was a piece of crap. And I couldn't, from my main page, share things to Dr. Rita Louise. So now that page says Dr. Rita like page or something like that. And the new page, which is a group, says Dr. Rita Live, has my smiling face on it with, the black background, whatever. So please join the group, because that is going to be my primary place of posting, whether it's about the show, whether it's quotes or memes or articles or whatever, but that's really where my focus is going to be. It is a public page, so if you know somebody who would be interested in all things Dr. Rita Louise, information about the show, whatever, please join the group Dr. Rita Live. Dr. Rita Louise Live on Facebook, and I will get that updated. On YouTube, if you want to watch the show, go to Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Like my channel, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, set it up that you get notified for upcoming shows. I would love to see you here always. Okay, and I had started to put this out, and then I went to this webpage and discovered that it was really messed up, really messed up. So it is new and improved, has a whole new design, appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. So if you're interested in becoming a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner, you can learn from the comfort of your own home with our professional level training at appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. Okay. So I'm going to switch gears. Please post your questions or comments in the chat box, and we are going to get this party started. So I'm going to say hi to everybody, and then I will answer any questions. So Sun says, hey, Rita. And Veronica says hi, and she has a question. Veronica. We have Victoria. Hey, Victoria. And Miss Lana. Lana. Hey, girly girl. We have Ziggy here. And Debbie. Hey, Debbie. And Miss Denise Smith. And Wendy. Hey, Wendy. All righty. So let's see what people have to say. So Veronica says, yes, I had my phone on. So she's talking about like the potential zombie apocalypse that happened yesterday. Very high pitch. My left ear bone vibrated. I felt dizzy, lightheaded, and got a headache. But once over was normal. Then heard on streaming radio show, not as intense. But Veronica, what I want to know is, are you a zombie? And if you're a zombie, can you let me know? Because if you want to come to my house, then I'm not going to let you, because then I would have to shoot you in the head, because that's the only way you can kill zombies. But I have a baseball bat, and I can do that. Unless you're really strong, then I would still have to shoot you. So let me know about the zombie thing. So she says, sort of forgot about, oh, wait a minute, it didn't click. I sort of forgot about it, but I did not believe in zombie or transformer. But isn't it kind of fun? Okay, Veronica and anybody else that was following that whole thing, wasn't it kind of fun to think that people were going to be turned into zombies? I did. I thought it was really funny. Okay, more Veronica. Let's see. I have seen 2 UFOs out west. My dad was followed by one in the 50s. It was all over his car. You know, so Veronica, I don't know if your dad is still with us, you know, if he experienced missing time. You know, you have to really like know the phenomena and know the things that are potentially going on. From what I understand, just in talking to people, you know, when I had my radio show, Just Energy Radio, I had a lot of UFO people on, that typically, but not always, you know, kind of when they're following you around, many times there are instances of missing time, and the person being, you know, taken into the craft and secret medical experiments done on them, but whatever. You know, so if he's still with us, you know, that might be something that you ask. Victoria says, hi. Okay, Miss Lana says, how can we call the aliens so we can create contact with them? Also, can aliens attach to people? And if so, do we clear them away from humans? And if so, do we clear them away from humans? Okay, so I don't know how you would call aliens. I know that Dr. Stephen Greer has done a bunch of work with that. I don't know a lot about the aliens. No one really knows a lot about, and I'm like saying the aliens, the Zeta Reticulans, and the Syrians and the Orions and whatever. You know, there's a lot of talk, but you know, when people talk about meeting them, they usually meet them on the etheric level, and so there aren't, as far as I'm aware of, necessarily firsthand accounts unless these people are taken in a ship. Okay, but I'm going to address the second piece of your question. Can aliens attach to people? And the answer is yes. I have worked with clients who have had entity attachments, And when you communicate with the entity, they do not present with a human form. They present as an alien. And one of the things that's very interesting about that phenomena, the aliens in particular, is, and the best way I can say it is, they don't speak human. Um, and I'll kind of give an example. You know, a Romulan is a Romulan, and a Klingon is a Klingon, and a Ferengi is a Ferengi, and their values and their emotional systems are very different. And so when you try to interact with them, they don't relate based on human values. I mean, human values and needs and being human is universal on this planet. You know, and if one of us went to, you know, the Klingon homeworld, we'd be readily recognized because we're human. Um, and I think that's really the best example, is to kind of think of, you know, Star Trek Next Generation, you know, that when they were interacting, you know, with the aliens, um, they had to respect their energy, whatever it is, their culture, which produced their energy. And it's really challenging when you're working with an entity attachment, because you want to get rid of the entity to be able to communicate with the entity, and there's not a whole lot of common denominator happening. Um, you can get rid of them. It's just a little harder in understanding what they want and what they need, and helping the person to shift that within themselves. You know, so Lana, I kind of thrown a whole bunch at you. So if you want to follow up, please just put a follow-up question below. Love the question. Love the question. Okay. Yeah, so Ziggy said, Dr. Rita Live. Got it. Thank you. And it's actually, Ziggy, if you're still here, it's Dr. Rita Louise Live. But if you type in Dr. Rita, it'll bring up Dr. Rita Louise Live. And, you know, just join the group. I've been posting a ton in there and not really sharing on my homepage, because I found that if I shared to the group, it will share to my regular feed. If you, and I'm going to put this out there, I do moderate everything, but if you have an event coming up, if you have a new book that's not too weird, you know, I have no issue in using that platform to help promote people, you know, and share the love. It really is about sharing the love and all of us sharing with each other. Okay, Debbie. Hey, girl. All right. I already said hi to Denise, and I said hi to Wendy. And Veronica says, I don't believe a lot of conspiracies unless there are numerous witnesses and credible sources that back up things with documents. And Veronica, I think that that's a really great way of doing it, you know, but even with witnesses and, you know, credible sources, even that, it's for me, it's challenging for me to throw my eggs in the basket, unless it's something that I feel really strongly about, like, oh my God, you know, how can you not see that? Because to me, it just seems evident and obvious, especially in this political stuff. To me, it's kind of like, you're really listening to that? Because that doesn't even make sense. But some of the other stuff, it's just, I'll give you an example. And this was even a few years ago. You know, if you said to me, oh, aliens are real, I would be like, okay, you know, because it wouldn't be any surprise, and it wouldn't be anything that I hadn't considered as being possible at some point in time. And it would just confirm it. It's like, okay, I can check that box off. It doesn't have to be a, you know, aliens question mark. It can be like aliens exclamation point, and move on from there. All right, so Ziggy said, may I ask a question about my health? Ziggy, you sure can ask a question about your health. I just would like to recommend that you be a little bit specific, you know, identify what body part or what kind of symptoms you're having, because this is a finite show and it just makes it easier for me to give you the feedback that you're looking for. Okay, great. Ziggy, haha, zombie, good vibes. Um, so Veronica said, again, go to Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. Oh, so we have a new face. We have Herman. Hey, Herman. Hello from Weston. I have to read this right. Australia. You know, Herman, I have some really wonderful friends that are in Australia, and it is one place that I would like to go because I would love to hang out with some of the indigenous people. I would love to go and see my friend, or, you know, some of the different sites there. The Wagina figures is something that I'm really drawn to. You know, so maybe one day it's kind of on my bucket list. Okay, so Ziggy says, Dr. Rita live. Yes, it is, Ziggy. Dr. Rita live. Okay, so I'm at the bottom of the list. So anybody have any questions for me? Because I kind of ate too much for dinner, Deb. I ate too much for dinner. Too much. All right, I either ate too much or I ate too fast. So I kind of have a little bit of indigestion going on. Okay. Okay. So Ziggy's back. Ziggy, back pain lower. So I'm guessing you're asking if it's cancer. I'm going to make the assumption that's what you're asking, is if it's cancer. Why does everybody like go to the big C whenever they have any kind of ache or pain? All right, Ziggy, hang on. Okay. So one of the things that you're showing me, you know, and I don't like know all the spine letters and numbers, but there's your sacrum. And I'm feeling like the disc right above it, like the vertebrae right above it, and the disc right above that has a little bit of bulge going on to it. Um, and the bulge is going kind of into the body, you know, like, so not to the side, not to the back, but kind of into the body. Um, I get the impression that it really kind of hurts. And it's in a spot where it makes it a little bit challenging to separate out, you know, is it my sacrum? Is it my back? You know, because when it's further up the back, I mean, that's pretty obvious, but this one is really low in the body. You know, and tied to that, there is some localized inflammation in that area that I feel is affecting your large intestine a little bit, you know, maybe your urinary tract system a little bit. But that is more inflammation versus cancer. That, I mean, I'm not feeling like there's any masses happening. You know, so I don't know what you're doing about that. You know, I always recommend to people, especially when I see something like that, you know, go work with a chiropractor. I feel like maybe getting some traction, you know, they can do lower body traction to kind of open that joint up and let that disc go back into place. I mean, there's a little bit of bone degeneration happening, but not too bad. Um, you know, and I do feel like for you at this point in time, that is a weak spot and is something that you really need to kind of pay attention to, you know. But the chiropractor, you know, a lot of the times people have, when they complain of back pain, it's usually muscle pain, muscle discomfort. Um, but for you, I'm feeling like there is something more structural. And so, again, seeing a chiropractor, you know, if you go see, you know, an osteopath or, a regular doctor, either they'll say there's nothing they can do about it and give you some pain meds, or tell you that they want to do surgery and, put a cage in there and blah, blah, blah. And it ain't that bad. I mean, it's kind of a pain, but it's not that bad that I see that it would even warrant surgery. The other pieces is for you to take anti-inflammatory type supplements, turmeric and ginger. That's kind of my go-to anti-inflammatory. Omega-3 oil. Doing some stretching, like some yoga-y type stretching to stretch that piece out, I think also would be warranted. And ice. Oh my God, they just threw ice in. And icing it down, that will help provide some relief. Okay. Yeah, so Ziggy, if you have a follow-up on that, please post that below. Okay, so we have Ruth here. Hey, Ruth. All right, Ruth, so I just have one question, Ruth, because, you usually have a pretty wide range of things going on. So are we talking about like personal life or are we talking about health-wise? And so if you could give me that little piece, but in the meantime, I'm going to kind of look, but I'm going to keep my eye on the posting. Okay, Ruth, so I'm just going to say something and you're not going to like what I'm going to have to say. But I'm just going to say it because I love you and I just say what I say because this is what they're giving me. So I feel like you are in a situation or in a position that you feel like you don't have a choice. But you do have a choice, but I feel like you are not liking the choice that is being presented to you or the choice that spirit is trying to push you toward. And that is creating even more resistance in your space. And I feel like but you just don't want to go there. And so maybe things aren't moving and maybe things aren't clearing up because you're not going in the direction that you already know that you should be going, but you're not. If that makes sense. Follow up with me, Ruth. Okay, so this was to Ziggy, Veronica's comment. Okay, so I can't pronounce that word. Dobtanium cages. So that's that metal cage stuff that they put in your back. In spine and neck cause heavy metal toxicity. I don't think so. I think that they're made out of like stainless steel or titanium, something that really does not rust or wear down. And the number of people that have issues with it tends to be fairly low. But once you have something like that put in, it just limits your mobility and limits what's going on. And so that issue can create a cascade of other issues in your body that were all set off into place by putting that in the first place. So, all right. So Ziggy put this. Thank you so much for your insight. Former cancer, former back surgery of obsolete brace broken in shards, but replaced now. Maybe shards left behind. Okay, hang on 1 second, Ziggy. Let me. Okay, so I'm going to throw out something weird, Ziggy, and please just put a yes or a no if this makes sense to you. But there's your hip bones, and then like your kidneys are kind of in the middle of your back, but hip bones, and then about 4 or 5 inches, like right there. Hang on, I'm trying to measure on my own back. About 4 inches up the spine, kind of mid body, like near the spine. Is there a spot that bothers you? Because I feel like that might be a shard. Um, Other than that, not so much. Now, one of the things that can happen if there's been a surgery is that you have adhesions, muscle adhesions that form in that area, which kind of lock everything up. But there's a lot that you can do to break up the adhesions from that former back surgery. Okay, so if you're having something there, because that thing that I'm sensing isn't connected to anything, it's just kind of like hanging out in mid space. Hey, maybe you have an alien implant. It could happen. It would be really cool. Okay, Ziggy, if it's an alien implant, you totally have to come on this show and share it with us. But yeah, I wasn't looking that far up. But that spot is not connected to any muscle. It's not connected to any bone. It's just kind of free floating in tissue. And I feel like it came from further down the back and moved into that position. So if that's the piece that's really the part bothering you, that seems like a pretty easy fix. And maybe it is an alien implant. Yeah, I'm going to cross my fingers. Okay, so I'm kind of waiting on Ruth to make a comment. Ziggy says, you're giving me great things to work on. I'll share. It's below my waist. Okay, cool. Well, we would like to hear an update. Just, you have to just remind me because I only remember for like 5 minutes. Okay, Marco is finally here. He's finally here and we can start the show. Marco, we were talking conspiracy theories and you totally missed it. So you're going to have to do remedial work and listen from the beginning. Okay. Still kind of waiting on Ruth. I don't have anything down at the bottom. So Herman, do you have a question? Denise, do you have a question for me? Miss Debbie, what time is it? You should be home by now. Do you have a question? I know Jeannie's probably hiding in the background there. Do you have a question for me? We had Sun that was here really early on. Maybe you have a question. Ziggy, it is my job to make people laugh literally out loud. It's one of my best gifts. It sort of, kind of. Okay. And we have Mark, my almost husband, but he's married, so that can't happen. Guy in the house. Hey, Mark and roomies. So, and just to let you know, I did line something up for October 23rd. So Dr. Rita will be in the house of, hey, Mark, do me a favor and post the name of that show that you got me booked on, because I'll give it a plug, like right here, right now. Because if you come on here and you do cool stuff, I'll totally plug you. I have I have no shame. Okay. Mark, post. Wow. I always think it's so interesting that people will post a question, but then you ask for a follow-up on it so you can be more specific. They go invisible on you. All right, Mark. All right. Okay, so there's 15 minutes left, but it's kind of slow. So I'm just going to do one more round of, do you guys have any questions? Because if no questions, we are going to call it a wrap for today. But again, before. Okay, thank you, Mark. All right. So Mark says that I will be on, and it's going to be October 23rd. All right, let me just verify. October 23rd. Okay, so on October 23rd at 7 o'clock p.m. Central, I will be appearing on the Cult Paranormal Podcast. Cult Paranormal Podcast. And so check it out because I'll be there and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about something, and I'm sure it's going to be fun. Okay, so Yvonne just came in, and if you have any questions, let me know because I'm ready. I'm kind of ready to go. Okay, so let's see. Veronica wants to know, can you detect any portals in and around my apartment? I'm not seeing anything, Veronica. Sorry. No. Okay, Vaughn says, I need to know if a guy I'm talking to is a go. Ew. Ew. Juicy. Okay, Vaughn, hang on one second. Okay, so I'm going to say that he is presenting kind of mixed energy to me. Not necessarily bad, but not like he's hiding. And so I would, and I know you're going to hear me on this, maybe keep him in purgatory, maybe keep him, a little bit at arm's length and just give it some time. Um, I kind of get the impression that even though you like him, there's even a part of you that is still not sure, like from a feeling place, not from a external place, but like you kind of get a little weird from him. And where you're being confused is that weird me or is that weird him? And I want to say that I'm kind of feeling like is that weird is a little bit him, but he seems confused or whatever. Um, Okay, so Mark says about the radio show that I'm recording on the 23rd at 7 o'clock, that he thinks it's a pre record. But why would we record it? She only gave me like so many days, and why would we record it at 7 o'clock at night? I don't know. I'm sure they'll send me a link and I'll post it around. Um, Okay, so Yvonne says, or is someone else coming in? So Yvonne, that's kind of predicting the future. Um, okay, so and I'm going to say with relationship to this other guy that you're asking about, you could do better than this other guy, and so maybe, ooh, and I hate this, but maybe what you're being presented with is a test. Like you're kind of getting the weird vibes, but you're not really sure, so you're not really like doing anything about it. And maybe the test is for you to listen to the weird vibes and step away versus staying. I know that, and I'm sure you have seen this, where the universe will present us with these situations, and they're a test. You can like go with your new way of thinking, your new programming, the new you want to become, or you can go with your own old ways. And if you go with the new way, you pass the test. If you go with the old way, you fail the test and you get to repeat third grade. So I'm wondering if this guy is a test guy for you. I feel like you are that close to like this new energy, new vibration of you kind of exploding. Um, it's and it's really hard for me to explain, but I just feel like this new you being more authentic than you have been in the past, even though I know you say speak your mind, but even more so than that, hard as that may be to believe. And all right, I'm stopping there. If you have any follow up, please post it below. But I think you're seeing where I'm going with this, because I think we kind of think with the same brain. Okay. So Mark says we'll get the archive out to everybody when it's available. Well, of course. All right. And so Veronica says, yes, that's what I'm doing. Great. And Veronica, if the relationship is new and he's already in purgatory, the question I ask you is he in purgatory because he's done something that he deserves to be in purgatory? Or is he in purgatory because you put him there because you're not sure for yourself that you want to let him in? Because if you put him there because of something he's already done, then in my opinion, so early in the situation, it should already be a no. If you put him there because because you're part of the dumb girl club and you get involved with guys and you're just dumb like me, then that's an appropriate place for him to be until you feel comfortable that you are coming into it from a good place. Okay. So Denise says, sorry, no questions this evening. I enjoy listening to your topics. It was good to get some feedback about the cell phone signal. Thought it was just a conspiracy theory. Well, Denise, one of the things that I have been finding is that, with this new influx of baby conspiracy theory people, there's a lot of hoaxes going on. But with that said, there's also this grapevine. So we don't know if there really is validity to what was being said. But that message of, like cell phone zombie apocalypse spread far and wide to millions of people. And so if the government was really going to be stupid enough to set off some sound that's going to activate nanobots in your body to turn you into a zombie, they would be so busted because we already knew about it. So maybe it didn't happen because we already knew about it. I don't know. Again, that's one of the flaws about conspiracy theories is that you just never know. And you never get feedback. And it's just always a mystery. Okay. So Marco says, great show, Rita. And thank you, Marco, but that's because you love me. Okay, so Yvonne says, thanks, I agree, I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Yvonne. Okay, so Wendy says, I had a coaching client today, and the moment we started, I felt an extreme tiredness. I'm wondering if it was his negative energy or something. I mean, I get the impression that he kind of climbed in your body and was kind of sucking you dry, a little energy vampiric thing happening. And I'm going to make the assumption, just based on the dynamic that I'm seeing, is that he really didn't get value, because I don't get the impression that he was particularly coachable, because he knew everything, and because he knew everything. So kind of hard to work with people like that. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to call it a night. This has been a great show. And guys, I totally love you and appreciate all of you that come here to hang out with me every week. It just makes it a joy to be here with you. So I'm just going to go through my little spiel and we're going to call it an evening. So if you would like to schedule a private consultation with me, please go to my webpage, soulhealer.com, and drop me a line. There's lots of articles and information and videos and links to my books, or you can buy my books off the web page, and they all come autographed. And if you get them off the web page, many times you get a little piece of Rita, because my hair, inevitably a piece of hair will fall out and get stuck in the label, the tape label. So you get some DNA. Just don't plant it on a crime scene, please, because I don't want to be incriminated in some kind of, nefarious plan that you use my hair for. Just saying. Conspiracy theory wise. Okay, on Facebook, and I talked about this in the beginning, but I'm going to repeat it now. Please, so I am getting rid of the like Dr. Rita page. I changed that to like Dr. Rita like page, so don't go to that. And I need to change this. I just created a group called Dr. Rita Live, and it's a group on Facebook. And you are welcome to post on there, share stuff on there. I'll be posting and sharing material on there. So if you have stuff going on, I would like for this to be a community where we can talk about anything. We can talk about UFOs. We can talk about conspiracy theories. We can talk about health and healing. We can talk about being a dumb girl and narcissistic behavior and all of that really good stuff that, if you've known me for a long time, you know that I like talking about, because it's a pretty wide spectrum of thought. If you're more interested in YouTube, please go to my YouTube channel, Just Energy Radio on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel, like the page, sign up for the notifications, all of that good stuff. And finally, okay, there is one comment. I'm going to take a quick look. All right. And finally, if you're interested in becoming a medical intuitive, a intuitive counselor, or a energy medicine practitioner, or if you really just want to learn how to work on your own energy, how to clear and heal your chakras and stuff like that, please do check out my new and improved, now working website, AppliedEnergeticsInstitute.com. In this training, other than the personal healing or spiritual growth for personal healing, courses are designed to help you get the practice and experience you need so that you can become an energy medicine practitioner, an intuitive counselor, or a medical intuitive. So AppliedEnergeticsInstitute.com. Anyway, so until next week, I will be back here. Please invite your friends, have them bring their questions, or just have them come and hang out. I would love to hang out with them. Now that I have this group page, if there are topics that you would like for me to cover as part of this broadcast, now there's a much, much easier forum to do that. It's a public page, so you don't have to be my friend. I don't really accept a lot of friend requests. But again, if you want to like that page, or, join the group, join the group. But I would love to hear from you. Okay. So until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live with Dr. Rita Louise. Till next week, be blessed.